Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Good to have you on the show. My name is Omobola Stephen, the host of Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, where Mindshift conversations happen. We focus on personal development and self-improvement topics, occasioning expert professionals, thought leaders who are adept in these topics of personal development and self-improvement, sharing profound insight that are transformative, constructive yet disruptive in nature, that is going to pivot the positive changes you and I need in the side of eternity. Now, we always emphasize the need for us to embrace personal development and self-improvement along the course of our lives, because when we do so, we tend to find ourselves along the way. And where we find ourselves is such a joy and a sense of fulfillment, having realized who we truly are and all of the beautiful bounties that life has in store for us. Now, this can truly happen and only happen when we are intentional about personally developing ourselves and improving on what we find out. Now, this is the core mission and the focus of Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. I have Susan Pilato on the show with me now. Susan is the CEO of Mantra Inspired Furniture, right? She is there with me on the show today as we explore on the topic of designing for belonging. Thank you once again for joining me, Susan.
Oh, it's so my pleasure. And I love what you're talking about, journey and intention of becoming who you are. I love that.
Good to know. Thanks for that. You're on a mission to create furniture that speaks to the soul, designing spaces that are safe, beautiful, inclusive, and deeply human. Now, I love that P line of yours. Your mantra inspired furniture is known for designing inclusive spaces. Now, in practice, what does designing for belonging looks like?
Yeah, great question. So, I am a commercial interior designer by trade. That's what I've been my whole career, and ended up in mantra inspired furniture because we realized that people were not building commercial furniture like in offices and such with good materials. So when you talk about belonging, I feel like and have experienced that we aren't really focused on how people feel around the furniture that they are around all day long. And part of the belonging is understanding each other. And as designers that are responsible for the space in which someone lives for a majority of their day, Monday through Friday, we need to consider how do we make that space feel? And the furniture has everything to do with helping people to feel better. And what I'm discovering, you mentioned neurodiversity, we're discovering more and more that people who are more sensitive to their environment really love and also feel more calm around real wood. Well, if you think about that, that relates right back to the forest. And you feel good when you're walking through the forest. So when we're talking about belonging, it's a bigger subject than just that thought of, oh, we just all belong together. It's not so much that as we each have a story. And but there are commonalities between all of us. And one of the commonalities that I am discovering more and more that we all have is the desire to be around nature, the desire to be around authentic materials, not so much fake. So that's a lot of what's behind mantra-inspired furniture.
All right, and now, Susanna, closely related to what you just shared earlier on, in what ways do you believe that the material we surround ourselves with influence our well-being and how we show up in the world? Now, the question I'm asking at this moment is, how can we begin to be intentional in making a shift when it comes to surrounding ourselves with the right materials?
Yeah, so intentional, right? That's the key word. we for so long, especially, and of course, I'm talking from my perspective as a designer, we have accepted cheaper materials. We've accepted cheaper fabrics, what we wear, the fast fashion, without thinking longevity. So when we intend to take care of ourselves, really think about what is it that I'm going to feel better 5 years from now, instead of thinking about the instant moment. We're in such a place right now. It feels that we are just, we got to feel good right now. Got to feel good instant, whether it's a social media post that we just send out and it may not be very nice, but it made us feel good for that moment. Well, 10 minutes later, you're probably going to regret it. So that's the same kind of philosophy that I'm talking about here. If we are more intentional and thoughtful about what we choose and materials to be around, and so since I'm in the furniture world, I'll just focus on that. We have relied so much on lookalikes. Okay, and what I mean by that is we got the plastic laminates that look like wood. Now, in some cases, you might need that because of a durability situation or a clean, not so much durability, but more into um, like easy to clean for a healthcare situation. But back in the day, we used solid wood. We used wood everywhere. We may have painted it, but we got away from it when we accepted using cheaper materials, the MDF, the particle board, and covered it with inexpensive covering to look like something that wasn't real. So the intention to be authentic is right where I'm talking. Whether you're talking about how you make a product, if you're talking about how you're going to go about business, if you're talking about how you are going to be in your workplace as an employee, if you don't have intention of authenticity, that will not serve you well as a long-term plan. So that's the same with furniture. So it's all connected, really. If you intend to use the quality, and I understand that sometimes we worry about budget. I get that. I've been there too, but there are ways we still can implement. That same, whether it's our clothes, whether our health care, our food, all of that. Going back to your word intention that I so appreciate you bringing up. It is intended, that's what it's about. What do we intend to bring into our environment? What do we intend to be in as a person? What intention do we have in our own authenticity? Does that make sense?
No, let's go to consider adaptability when it comes to creating inclusive furniture design.
Adaptability. So you can look at adaptability in several different ways. A lot of times people think adaptability in regards to disability. But what it really is that we all as individuals, we come to the workplace in all different sizes, all different abilities, sizes, all that is a part of when we come to the office. So like the height adjustable tables, the ones that go up and down, and now it's not just one size fits all like it has been in the past. We have the ability to lower or to raise. So that adaptability is important. But adaptability, when we're talking about using solid wood furniture, as opposed to what we were talking about earlier, the lookalikes that have the plastic laminate over the particle board, what's great about this is that you can adapt. Say today, you love live edge conference tables and you want a live edge conference table, and you have that. Say 5 years from now, you're like, I am done with that live edge. I don't want that uneven edge on my table anymore. What's beautiful about using this kind of furniture is you can cut off that edge, restain it, it can look completely different. That's longevity and that's adaptability. The other thing too is if you want to separate, if you have one table that is, say, 84 inches, but you've decided you need two tables, you can cut it in half. It's thinking, again, long term, the what ifs. So what if we have people coming in that work better in smaller groups than at just one big table? Then we can cut that table or just have two tables that are connected together but can be taken apart. So those are the kind of things that we think about when we talk about adaptability. But it goes right back to the individuals. Everything we do, even though it's just, people think, oh, it's just furniture. Yes, but it's furniture that is serving humans. And we all come, like I said earlier, different sizes, different capabilities, different abilities. And we, as designers of furniture and designers of spaces, we have to think about these things. It goes back to the human story.
Absolutely, a great work you're doing indeed, Susan. Now, you said, and I quote in your word, we don't just make furniture, we build culture. So, what does this mean to you, and how can my audience apply this to their business or personal lives, or especially those who are looking forward to owning this kind of business?
Yes. So, every company, whether you are an accountant, if you are a lawyer, if you're selling clothes, if we're doing interviews like what we're doing right now, at the end of the day, we are humans that are connecting as humans. So what we mean when we say culture is just that. We are a culture of humans that are building furniture in an authentic way. Authentic, and when I say authentic, what I mean is this. So often there have been furniture lines that may use cheaper materials, and I know that there is a place for that. But there has been many that will say, oh, we are sustainable, we are this, we are that, and they really are not. So that confuses people. That confuses the client, it confuses the designer. So when we talk about our culture and how you can apply it to other businesses, what we're talking about is we're building furniture that you will know that what we tell you is authentically true. Meaning we're not going to do everything. Okay, we're staying in our lane. We understand tables and desks and such. But if I tell you that this is solid wood and that it holds 50% of its weight in carbon, you can trust that this is the truth. That's the culture that we're building. And that seems logical. Like, why isn't everybody doing that? Well, unfortunately, I have been on the other side and seen that that isn't how not everybody operates that way. But I will tell you this, if you do, if you can be authentic to your own beliefs and your soul, you can look in that mirror every morning and feel at peace. When you start diverting away from your own truth, you will not feel good. And so I don't care what business you do. That theme right there is something that will make you may make money. Let me just say this. You may make money. We can all make money in all different ways. And some are very successful with authentic marketing and stuff and such. However, all the money in the world is never going to make you happy. It may make things a little bit easier, but as far as your soul and your comfort level with yourself, you can't buy that. So that's why we feel, and I learn from the people that I work with every day. It's a bit of that law of attraction idea. If you put that out there of authenticity, you attract it. And we have. I mean, my business partner is just amazing, and she's different from me, but where we are exactly alike is our principle and our drive for truth and telling the truth. People might not always enjoy what we have to say because truth sometimes is uncomfortable. But that's where the leader comes out in an individual. When you can bring yourself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, then you know you are growing into a leader. And what I mean by that is sometimes having this type of culture is not comfortable because you have to call out truths that some people may push back on. Not everybody wants you to be authentic in your messaging because they're not necessarily authentic, so they're going to push back. But at the end of the day, you can stand firm and you don't have to be defensive. It's what I believe in, instead of fighting back, fighting forward. Because if you have that base level of authenticity, you can move forward and you're going to be okay.
Susan, I think that we appreciate the fact that you also ingrain spirituality into your business. And I so much believe that we can separate one from the other. Spirituality is also very important in terms of building a successful business. Now, you've made equity, sustainability, and inclusion a non-negotiable part of your brand. So, what advice do you have for my audience or leaders who want to lead with values, but they are afraid it might limit their growth?
So, that's such a good question for right now. The fear of limiting growth because of sticking with your values. We're living in a time that I think is meant to test all of us. And, this idea that diversity is a bad thing, to me is insane. My viewpoint as a woman in business has been helpful to some men that are in business. My husband being one of them. He's a business owner. I'm a business owner. He sees things differently than me sometimes. I need to hear that. I see things differently from him. He needs to hear it. That's how we become better decision makers. In my office, we have different generations. We have people of color. We have men. We have women. What I love is at the end of the day, we make better decisions because we've got different viewpoints. So to fear any of that it might limit your growth, I can attest that it will do nothing but help you grow, not only as a person, but as a company. It is proven that companies that have diverse leadership and diverse management are more profitable than those that do not. Now, think about this for a moment. If you're in a room and everybody looks like you and everybody has basically the same background, are you really going to come up with any new ideas? Really? So if you have people that are from different backgrounds, different experiences, and we're all talking about different experiences with commonality of trying to find that solution for that problem, well, honest to goodness, who is going to give you, what group is going to give you the better solution? The ones that all think alike or the ones that come to the table with different experiences? So when you are worried about how your pride in being diverse and your management style, management group, in your employment, who are you afraid of? Are you afraid of not being part of the popular kid group? That's not a longevity type of mindset. Or are you wanting to be successful and show how diversity makes a difference? To me, that's growth. So I would say if you want to grow, stay within your own values. Make sure that you are in rooms that have differing points of view and experiences than you. But if you fear that sticking with your values will limit your growth, then that fear will limit your growth.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for sharing that insight with the audience. Now, you have disrupted the commercial furniture space with a neurodiverse-friendly women-owned manufacturing company. Now, because we focus on the Mindshift conversations, and my audience are interested in knowing what are some of the mental barriers that you've had to overcome to do something that is unconventional. We know that, and it's so much a unique niche that you cover. Can you share?
Sure. So being a woman manufacturer is unique. There's I think the latest statistic in our commercial industry, there's less than 3% of women-owned manufacturers in our industry. But what I will tell you is I didn't find that statistic out until I was already involved in manufacturing. The way that I have challenged those outdated norms is really not giving them any power of my time on thinking of it. I know that staying with and I know I keep saying authenticity, but staying with my authentic, what I feel is my authentic values that are stemmed from my own soul, that is connected to all the souls that are here working with me, it gives me even more confidence to power on. Again, it goes back to what our parents have taught us about be careful of who you hang out with. Like when you're a teenager and it's like, now be careful who you hang out with because, you're going to either get yourself in trouble or you're going to hang out with people that keep you out of trouble. It's the same thing throughout life. If you surround yourself with people that are of good value, of good, of just good and thoughtful and intentional people that are there for the authentic support of you, and you respond with the same to them, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. And so those are how I overcome those mental barriers, because I will tell you, my group of friends, they remove those barriers in a New York second. They don't allow me to have those barriers. So that's how I'm able to soar. It's not me. It's me along with my group of power women, for one, and men. My dad was really the one who, as he came from a generation of more of that traditional role of women, but he never, ever told me, you've got this ceiling and you can't go above it. It was quite the opposite. He was like, you go as far as you want. That's how I believed. That's how he taught me. So it started with that. But then I also realized that it's just like what he said, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. That was one of the things. My friends were always smarter than me, and I was challenged to keep up with them. And I've done that in business. And it can feel weird sometimes. I mean, I have not escaped that whole imposter syndrome feeling at times. Absolutely. Sometimes I'm like, what in the world am I doing here? How did I get here? Like, what is happening? But when I center myself and I think about where I am and that no human on this earth is any better or worse than the other, and I truly believe that. We all come into this world. We don't know where we're going to be born. We don't know who we're going to be born into or what situation or what country or what city, but we all come in. We come in, and then it's up to us. And that's what I remember. It's like I can be in these rooms, and I'm in a lot of rooms with some high-powered men, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But I have to remember, I'm here too. I'm where my feet are, and I have value just as much as they have value. And I can say that because my friends won't let me think any differently. My support system stays with me. And that's, if there is one thing every entrepreneur needs, it's a good support group of positive people. Don't let those naysayers get a hold of you. They have their own insecurities that they're having to deal with that do not belong to you.
All right, Susan, good to know that. We focus on having a mind shift, which is very, very important. Now, you talk about, or you emphasize the importance of, we intentionally surrounding ourselves with the right support system. But I wanted to ask this question from you. When you began the process of, being attracted to the right support system, what was the importance of self-awareness, getting to know who you truly are, finding out who you truly are, before you began to attract the right tribe into your life?
I think that's a continual journey. But at the very beginning of seeking that journey towards self-awareness and who am I? What is it I want to do? And still have. I started to understand more of where my goals were starting to head. And I may not have understood exactly why I was having whatever experience it was, whether it was a good experience or a bad experience. But what I've learned through my journey is that they all are a part of who I am. And I made mistakes in the way I handled certain situations. But the important thing is I learned. I came out on the other side. And one big part of the self-awareness journey that I have had, I've learned to let go of ego, and that's not easy. We all have it. Um, it can be a big stumbling block for most of us because it's something that is a protector of us. The ego is to protect. It's like this. What I've come to be aware of is that it actually hinders me. When I start getting worried about my pride or my ego, that's been such a blockade that it blocks my true self-awareness. So if I am accepting that, you know what, I'll never be perfect and I'm going to make mistakes and I've made another one, that's okay. As long as I'm not repeating the same mistake over and over and over again, that's where big problem is. And that's where you are not self-aware. So if you've learned I'm discovering for myself that as I learn from my mistakes, that is a part of my journey of self-awareness. So I don't know that when I'm 90 years old, I'll be completely self-aware. I think it's something that you have to be on that constant journey of. But you got to start with understanding really what's inside your soul without your ego and using that as your base point.
Thank you so much, Susan Pilato, for sharing your thoughts on today's show. Do you have any important news, perhaps a project you think is going to add value to the audience? Come on, you can share if you have any.
Well, thank you. Just recently, and talking about like feeling a bit of an imposter syndrome and like, what am I doing here? I was just elected to the board of directors for an organization called BIFMA. Well, I know a lot of people, your audience would be like, well, who's BIFMA? But in my world, this is the big guys. That's a national association that usually, you've got billionaire type of companies that are representing on this board, and having that opportunity to be one of the smaller manufacturers and being a woman, being an interior designer, which has not had representation on this board, is such an honor. And I got to be honest with you, it's a little like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? And how did I get here? But that's really exciting. We are so excited about all the attention that Mantra has gotten for its authentic sustainability message. We're just value to my journey. So we're super excited about that. And Mantra continues to get more and more attention for its authentic sustainability conversation, and people are understanding it more. And it's just bringing a lot of happiness to our heart. So we feel very good about the future, a lot of good things, and getting our voice out. So thank you for your time today. This has been wonderful.
Absolutely, it's been wonderful having you, Susan Pilato. You are the CEO of Mantra Inspired Furniture. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on today's show, especially on designing for belonging. We had a great time indeed. Can you share your website?
That's www.mantrainspiredfurniture.com or mantraif, as in Frank.com.
All right, good to know. Thank you once again. We really wish you best of luck in all of the projects you embark upon, Susan. It's been like we all from Omobola Stephen, where conversation happened. We really had a great time exploring on this topic for such time as this. If you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of the podcast, you can do so on any course formation platforms or any podcast distribution platforms to bump into online, and you have a great time. Let's again, Susan, for your time. Great show we had.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.